I haven't seen this yet. I haven't watched it, but apparently it's an hour and 12 minutes of my original reaction to 5v5 Overwatch and what the game would end up being like. I've had so many people submit this to me, and the top comments are, this is hilarious. He just literally points out every issue he thought would come with 5v5, and he was right about them. Like a prophet, he knew from the beginning that they would run into that problem. And it sounds like it's just an hour and 12 minutes of me predicting the future. I get a lot of shit sometimes in this game about takes and being like, no, it's wrong. You know what? I'm not going to say anything. We'll just see if I was right. Let's just see. Ready? Settle in, grab your drink. Let's go.
Okay, I made it. All right, chat.
Hi, pass me.
All right, you ready?
I am. It's time. Here we go. Oh.
You good?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Overwatch 2 developer PvP live stream.
Old
I'm your
room.
host, Matt,
Yep.
Mr. X, and
Old
throughout the
apartment.
stream, I'll be joined by some awesome content creators and developers from the Overwatch team as we learn more about Overwatch 2's PvP by watching some of these awesome maps
2
in
and 5
action,
live.
played live.
Tough day.
It's going to be an extremely exciting day. As Aaron mentioned during the developer update, everything you see today is work in progress, but being able to see some of this stuff, day in and day out, it's truly awesome. Really excited for what the Overwatch team has to show for you guys today. So let's bring on some of my guests throughout the day. I'll be joined by the
It's weird
members
knowing
of
in the
Overwatch
future how
dev
this is
team.
going to unfold.
It's Associate Art Director Dion Rogers, Lead Hero Designer Jeff Goodman.
Oh,
and
here
Game
we go.
Director Aaron Keller.
Oh, here
How
we
you guys
go.
feeling today?
So much for having us.
Yeah,
Oh, the delay.
it's gonna be
I'm very curious to see how different Aaron is now on camera versus how he was then.
exciting. Now, we've learned so much about the
A round.
PvP aspect of Overwatch 2. And we've learned some stuff about, PvP, with push, role passives, new heroes. You saw Sojourn at BlizzCon Line. What else has gone into the development process for Overwatch 2's PvP?
You're right. We've talked
I wonder if I should cover myself so you guys don't get confused.
a lot about the story
which one's
side
which?
of
Nah,
Overwatch
you guys will
2
be fine.
and
It's a different
the
room.
cooperative PvE
There's the
experience
shot. That's the shot. Everyone
that
thinks
we've
it's
been working
5v5.
on. But
That's not what it
the
was.
Overwatch team
My
has
opinion.
also
We'll
been
see.
hard at work on the PvP side of the game. Where
Oh, pass flats. Oh, dude.
features, new heroes.
I was so naive. I thought there's no way they would end up doing it right. Like, there was no way they'll do 5v5.
Be
Okay. I
playing
need alerts
today.
for this.
And we've also been looking
He's a
at
team
the
of two
way
listed.
PvP is played.
I gave them too much
It's
credit.
changed over time on the live game, and we'll talk about a lot of the changes that we want to be making and that we're currently making to PvP. But
Damn, Flats looks so
there's
young.
one in
It
particular
was
that I
before the
wanna
years of
highlight
stress of
right now,
Overwatch caught up to me.
because it's substantial, and I think it has a big impact on the way the entire team approaches PvP on Overwatch 2. And it's also something.
It's max volume, sorry.
Is that an AirPod?
Actually, wait, hang on. You know what I can do? I can turn it up over here for you. I got this. I got you. Ready? Is this better? Although I'm going to be louder too, so like you got to give and take.
really
On his mic?
excited about. Overwatch has always been played with 2 teams of 6 players. Overwatch 2 will be played with 2 teams.
No, I don't mean me. I mean, okay. Future me won't be louder. Past me will be louder. That's what I.
Of 5 players.
Oh, it is
Consisting of
confirmed.
2
It's
support,
real.
2 DPS.
Holy
and
shit.
1 tank.
Right, my next question was gonna be like, okay,
Holy
is Role
shit,
Queue
it's
still a
real.
thing? So we still have a breakdown across the board. It's not completely open. So
Wow.
1 tank, 2 DPS.
Play Overwatch
2
nailed it.
supports.
They actually nailed
what
it.
led you guys down the road to make this change?
Well, buddy, it was a good run.
There are a lot of reasons for why we wanted to make this change.
Well, it's fun playing with
As
you,
I
dude.
said earlier,
Yeah.
Overwatch has changed
Oh,
over time. We've
little did we know.
tried to make our combat easy to read and very understandable. And even with all of the work that we put into that, sometimes it's just hard to track what 11 other players are doing on the battlefield. Removing
Hang on. Past me is about to interrupt and go, no, it's not. But that was the same answer Aaron gave me about 7v7. But they said it about 6v6 too. Just saying. Before we roll out the 7v7 entirely, There was at some point in the past where it was believed that 6v6 was too many players on the field. If we at some point in the past think 6v6 was too many players, why don't we think that 7, and we don't think that's true anymore for 6v6, why could that not potentially not be true anymore for 7v7? It's not.
2 of those simplifies everything, and it allows
Lord have mercy,
players
things that
to
16 months. Appreciate
understand everything that's happening around them and to be able to make better choices because of it. This change obviously has a really big impact on tanks, and we will get into some of the changes that we're making to tanks and to some of the other roles in a bit. But tanks can be problematic. They're a DPS hero is simple. They're shooting.
If you guys want to talk about the whole 7v7 thing, then I it was something I kind of came up with, like just talking on a podcast one day. I am totally down to explore that someday if you guys want to talk about it. Not right now though. Okay, we'll just keep it to this. Sorry,
but a tank
I shouldn't have
has
said that.
abilities that can be noisy, or when stacked with other tanks, can cause problems for other teams to try to overcome and counter. Like, and a great example of that is 2 main tanks on the field. Sometimes that can be very oppressive to another team. I think with 5 players out there,
Haspy did not like that.
of certain people being able to carry.
I don't
Whether
want to be
that's
critical,
the
but did they
tank on
just
the
say
team
2
or some
main
of the
tanks is
DPS.
oppressive?
There's just 1 less player on the other team that you need to take care of, and each player now has the opportunity to have a larger individual impact on their own team. And we've 3.
Like I said, I was pretty sure they weren't going to do 5v5.
I was pretty sure too.
Even early on,
I was like confident. I was like, no, I don't think they're going to do that.
7v7
but they did it.
Format of the game.
They did it.
And we always had some problems with them, and
that's just a
this is
lack
sort
of
thing
understanding.
that our
Double
lead
main tank
hero
has
designer,
never
Jeff
been good.
Goodman, has really run with, and I think he probably has a little more he can say about it.
I think we need to see how the hero design is too.
100%. Like I'm open-minded, but this is not the start.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect it. I honestly didn't, because I know it looked like 5v5 at BlizzCon, and I was kind of like, oh, but
never to be spoken about again. Yeah, Jeff. I assume that obviously
of the maps we've always placed what we consider cover.
I want to see much more first person.
I want to see how like the op tanks play though.
I was gonna say I want to see more first person in this. Like I want to see like this. I don't want to see like as much top down.
Now with 5v5,
like I understand, like obviously Ryan's gonna be played and Winston. I want to see how how's Diva gonna be now? How is Zarya gonna be? What have they done to like Sigma? I want to see that type of stuff too, because I think that'd be important.
If you look at Kings in general,
I'm gonna like.
Hang on, wait a minute. Did that Ryan just explode? Did you guys see that?
How's Diva gonna be now? How is Zarya gonna be?
Wait, what happened to his health bar?
Ryan's gonna be played and Winston. I want to see how how's Diva gonna be now? How is Zarya gonna be? What
isn't it like full there for a sec?
I want to see that type.
And then where'd it go? Oh no, it's not. Maybe it wasn't full. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just like okay. Maybe it was only half there. The first frames, it looks like the first frame. It looked like it was full, and then just like went straight to half, and there's no way it was that quick.
Like you can't do anything with this. They're not even being used. Like if you actually just took them off the field right now, the game would be playing the exact same.
Kind of see it here.
That's my problem right now.
Stuff like that.
The game is not changed. Like, sorry, the game has changed. The tanks that are on the field right now are not even being used. Like, you could legitimately just remove the Winston and the Reinhardt. It would be the same exact game right now.
You can take. Something we saw at BlizzCon Line was the 2 Fire Strike charge.
I think that's why they're going to have the Overwatch League players play it later, probably.
Jeff, when we were
that's what I'm assuming is going to happen.
My Winston on live, not able to shoot at range. Can you explain that to us a little bit?
So yeah, I was wondering if people picked up on that. So we were first watching Winston there. This is an example of some of the tank changes we're talking about in regards to 5v5.
Tank being cosmetic checks out. Oh no!
We're talking about making tanks a lot more aggressive, be able to be a little more heavy on the damage side and less just raw protection. So on Winston's
they can't even go in.
He's ulting right now, unfortunately. You can't see it.
They just said like make tanks more aggressive, but the Winston jumped in one time and only got 500 HP on his primal.
Charge up like
they can't. You can't play more aggressive. It's the same thing.
Fire it off as a single sort of like blast attack at longer range.
Watch his health pool. His health pool's just getting chunked.
The charge up is kind of interesting with it for him because you could do it while you're leaping, and so there's like
block.
Theoretically more burst combos you can do where you're jumping on top of somebody, charging up in the air, and burst, release it right before you land on them, and then you get the stomp damage too, and they're like, well, I'm gonna get
Winston third ability. So this is still like pre-alpha footage, I think. The third ability on Winston is Scatter Arrow from Overwatch 1, and that is a placeholder. So Overwatch, when I'm going to teach you something, a little something, okay? When Overwatch is designing new characters and stuff, sometimes there is no art that's made, right? And we know this because there was an old blog that they did where actually when they make new characters, actually they use Ashe a lot of times. They use Ashe as player model. And so let's say there's a new character under development, right? They don't have the art for the character made yet to put the model in the game, but they're still testing the abilities, like how the buttons work, like what's their primary fire, secondary fire, all this other stuff. So they use Ashe as the placeholder, and then they have like other ability icons, like old retired ones, like Scatter Arrow, as placeholders. So like the buttons still work, but like let's say you hit E and it's literally says Scatter Arrow, but it's like some movement ability, right? It's only a placeholder. And so with the footage we're looking at right now, this is, I believe, pre-alpha footage. That's why you see this there. That was Winston's right click, because in Overwatch 1 there was no right click.
Right before you land on them, and then you get the stomp damage too, and you're like, well, I'm gonna get blasted probably if I just like run away, so I have to be able to survive that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the decisions all Winston players face. It's like, okay, I've jumped on this player, I've gotten them weak. I can either now get out of my bubble and try to finish them off, or just kind of hope a teammate does. But now giving him, I think it kind of goes back to more like that player, agency that you were talking about, being able to kind of take over the game, being able to finish it off. The nano boosted Ryan. This will never.
That was the most useful a tank has been so far.
just seeing Reinhardt.
I was just thinking this myself too. I was like, that actually was pretty good.
They're happy that I know that was a dragon blade.
Not really, because that's normal.
Was able to take out is it's kind of the bane of existence of a lot of people.
Less than they had before. But then in response to that, you can see Reinhardt here. He can hit the wall right there. You can cancel it, but you can cancel your charge, and you can get two.
You could have canceled. He still would have died.
So the canceling charge is one of those like sneaky things that seems like to some people might.
Damn, I just had unfiltered thouts back then. I just let it flow. Because I thought the same thing just now. He's like, I don't think it would have mattered.
It has a really fast.
I just let it rip.
Group and then cancel and immediately ult and just like knock everyone down. So the fact that you can even do that is its own now like
I respect it.
Sort of mini game.
Good job, pass.
You're never gonna make it.
If people know you have your ult or think you have your ult,
wait, how are you gonna put up to them and shatter when you don't have a bubble?
Like they don't want to fight you necessarily like normally because they don't want to get earth shattered. So sometimes you can like bluff people and are running for cover and you didn't even have it, or you save it or something. So, and it also just allows him to get in there and be more aggressive without sacrificing his health bar. So
yeah, it just sounds like another change, almost like how you kind of mentioned like stuff like that.
You gotta remember though, we don't even know what the new heroes are either.
As you're playing and testing,
so there could be some tanks that have like some really cool like
yeah, where the Winston combo you can load up that second.
True. I mean, Iman was right. It was Junker Queen. Then we don't talk about the other ones.
Some outdated and unused, kind of like back in Double Shield,
like Reinhardt play, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. So with the Zarya bubble,
something else I think that's really interesting here is like this fight's been going on for a while. Neither tank has.
We don't talk about Malga chat.
And the support have been doing such a good job at keeping the tanks up because there's only one of them.
But to be realistic though, like I hate to say it. Both of the tanks aren't doing anything. They're both AFK.
Really good being the tank player now. Like the amount of times you get into this situation where it feels hopeless. You're low on health. There's a bunch of the enemy players focusing on you. And
like I don't want to be rude. Like I don't care what their SRs are. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be some elitist piece of shit. But they're not doing anything. Neither of them are doing anything.
Yeah, it's I think that has to be something that you guys have kind of gotten in feedback, that from a support's point of view, you're able to dump resources into.
This is literally the meta that it looks like. The Rhine doesn't even exist. They can do whatever they want. Like a Hanzo Widow, Zen, Bap, and Rhine's just there.
Zen, you can kind of orb the tank and then focus on the damage. That probably has to be weight.
Oh man,
that's going to be interesting strat too. So,
and it's funny that hasn't changed really like at all. Interesting take. What do you mean? That's literally how it still is. Like to this day, you could just sit there sometimes and just AFK. This particular tank patch is a little bit different, although I really haven't played recently. I genuinely just have no desire to play. But like at least up until say 2 or 3 weeks ago with the mid-season season 11 patch, that was absolutely the case.
I'm not sure like what their
I really don't like. I'm not analyzing their gameplay in any way whatsoever. But
yeah. But has anyone ever told you you're a vampire? You never age, motherfucker. You don't think I've aged?
But the fact that you're like people are commenting like, see, look, they're doing great, but like, does this look, you know,
actually looks really cool.
They're just AFK.
This is something obviously that's incredibly new. I think on live, like it's kind of displayed on the right.
Yeah,
we're generally looking through this.
Go ahead. Sorry, Jeff.
I was saying we're generally looking at
the hairline. Hang on, that's not fair because I cut my hair really short recently. I literally just got a haircut this week and I went shorter than average because it's hot as balls. Okay, that's not totally fair. That's not fair. I cut it much shorter than I normally do. I really did. I did. I really did. I normally do like a 3 on the sides and like a little bit longer on the top. I did a 2 on the sides and a little bit longer on the top. And they even were like, are you sure you want to do that much? And I was like, yeah. No, who said Vegeta hairline? Shut the I will ban your ass, dude. Shut your ass up.
Anywhere we can improve hero specific UI stuff like this, and we felt like this could use, you know, a big update and be a lot more readable.
Man.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm most excited about with
Winston
this game has taken years off my life.
Is it's not just on Zen,
I mean, he did.
It's on
He
Mercy
fed,
also.
to be fair.
You see the portrait
but
of
how do you not feed
the player
right now?
that you're healing. And so it's just a lot easier.
Yes, past me. That is the lifelong question. How do you not feed?
To kind of
this week we started bringing up a thread again. Like, do we want to keep this? Actually, this has been around for a while. Is everyone still happy with this? So that's just an example of like the
controversial.
Core...
Looks like you lost a good amount of weight. Not trying to be rude. Yeah, I don't really talk about it, but I've lost a lot in the last year. I don't like talking about it though because people are
among
weird,
the design team. There's
a
lot of back and forth on this one. So, but I think whether or not we keep a change like that in the game, I think what it speaks
is that
to
up for discussion that it's not? Because
the amount of systems
that needs to go.
This
is the stupidest shit. I'm just gonna say whatever's on everyone's fucking mind.
Hang on, we're back up. Hold on.
So
one more time.
The design team, there's a lot of back and forth on this one. So, but I think whether or not we keep a change like that in the game, I think what it speaks to
is that up for discussion that it's not? Because
the amount of systems
that needs to go. This is the stupidest shit. I'm just gonna say whatever's on everyone's fucking mind.
Yeah,
Overwatch is not the game that we just watched. That what we just watched,
untouched, right?
Let's take out the point that they look like they were silvers. That was the most dog shit Overwatch I've ever watched. I don't care if they're bronze, silver, gold, diamond, or GM. That was dog shit.
What'd you think? First looks, what'd you think, man?
I'll be honest.
I think I just at this point, it's legitimately been many years at this point. Maybe I just forgot what good Overwatch looks like because if I felt that strongly about it in the time where I was playing Double Shield, oh my goodness.
Honest, I was a little bit skeptical when I first heard about 5v5.
Don't pander, please.
Rip to the off tanks kind of thing, but I don't know. Based off watching that first map there on New York, I don't know. It looks quite spicy. This does. Could be quite good.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. Like,
come on, don't pander.
I will wait in the DPS queue. You know, as long as I gotta wait. You know,
this is also when I was a younger streamer. I realized I've learned now that I'm not just gonna rip on them in midway through. I save that for later.
But now, like,
little me didn't know that.
Aggressive you can play and.
Little me didn't know that.
I'm excited to be able to kind of now dive.
Not going to. But I genuinely kind of want to turn it off. Like I'm not gonna, like there's like a little inkling.
Yeah, I mean, well, super buff tanks.
BlizzCon in 2018. It seems like a.
You were funny. No, it would just be rude. Like it's rude to just try to shit on them like, midway through their stream. Like I think genuinely the way I do it now is much more healthy, and it's like, you know. It keeps the lines of communication open, and it keeps us at a point where like we actually can get changes and we can actually like talk about stuff without just like hardcore going in on them. You know, I think nowadays it's way better. I do genuinely think that. I think of the two gifties because like nobody wants to talk to someone who's just gonna like scream at you the entire time and like, you know what I mean? It's just not. They're not gonna want like you're not gonna get your way. Like people just get turned off to you really quickly. Me not getting ripped on by flats while I'm talking. Yeah, you take criticism pretty well. I feel like I could, and you would actually be fine.
How has the game mode changed since we last saw it?
we haven't made a lot of changes to the mode itself, at least as far as like the big rules go for it, but we've continued developing for it. So we have more than one.
I don't care about them talking about they just said they haven't changed anything. So
one that we'll even be looking at today.
But to be realistic for a second,
we're really committed to the
tanks.
mode.
People don't like people when tanks are OP. Nobody has fun, right? Except the tank players. And even then, they're not having that much fun.
The interesting thing
about if you're not dominating the other tank, then you're getting flamed.
From the outside, it sort of looks like it's.
There are so many levels of this is wrong.
That's still true to this day.
It's not even funny. From toxicity levels to the entire.
Hold on, I'm gonna just gonna back up. I'm gonna back this up. I'm not gonna say a word for a minute.
Having that much fun.
The interesting thing about
if you're not dominating the other tank, then you're getting flamed.
From the outside, it sort of looks like it's.
There are so many levels of this is wrong. It's not even funny. From toxicity levels to the entire core of the gameplay has been changed
in the map. That makes this very special.
The way that the heroes are supposed to be played.
More as a
that literally that last third point fight was literally the most boring shit I've ever watched.
More than
it was boring. They literally stood AFK. Chat. And somebody remind me at the end of the stream. Please remind me, and I'll go back to rewatch that fight because nothing happened.
In here that I think can get played.
Literally,
and push.
nothing
and a lot of that has to do
happened.
With just the
both tanks stood AFK
of that robot in the map, and also because of how quickly it moves.
Yeah, now if you've never seen push before, there's a robot.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Middle, both teams will come out and kind of fight for it, and then once you get control, you can.
I mean, I will say though the. Teams were horrendously.
I think if the reaction is not strong enough from the community, they're going to keep it.
XQC,
it could change.
And me.
They do listen to us sometimes.
People. It was a massacre. That's cruel. I'll be honest, I was just AFK. It didn't really matter.
Virtually the same.
Yeah.
When we had the map at BlizzCon, it
didn't change, chat. It didn't change. It didn't change. Oh man, dude. So much passion.
It was
Jacoby, thanks for the tier 1, my dude. I appreciate it. Goldbond, thanks for 100 bits.
Now, but
Gundam, thanks for the prime. And Reagan's Railway, thanks for the 2 and 5 months.
Resources into
I'm gonna put alerts back on. You guys want to comment on this shit?
I know. I see Styles' face.
Alerts are back on.
Through and he's just like smiling.
I'm already
just, like, so giddy. Like,
alerts are on again.
It's so fun. Where I feel like push is gonna add a different type of element.
Yeah. This. You ever, if you've heard me talk before, I used to say this a long time ago. So now it's a long time. It's actually about a year ago now. I remember saying during the whole PvE thing, I feel like you should be more worried if I don't give a shit anymore and I just don't care than if I'm upset. And this is kind of like what I was remembering this time when I would actually get fed up if they did stupid shit. Now I just don't care. That's the point we've hit. It's bad. That's really bad. And I'm realizing in this moment how far it's deteriorated in that time.
I mean, I'm watching this. Yeah, I'm here.
But then again, also, this version of me would also get a lot more shit for saying stuff because, like, I was kind of aggressive with it. But, like, even today's version, which is, like, a lot more toned down, still gets lots of shit. So it's like, I feel like this is great proof that you'll never win. Because, like, I feel like nowadays I'm much more toned down, much more, like, reserved, and I'm much more, like... I try to do a better job of articulating why I feel the way I do. But it's not as passionate. Yeah, you're right. It's not as passionate, but, like, people still get really pressed. So it's, like... I think it's a really good lesson to learn that if you're somebody that has opinions and stuff, it doesn't matter who or how you express them. There will be people that like you or dislike you either way. It won't matter. It genuinely will not matter.
I think, yeah, I mean, this looks really deathmatchy, this does. Like, we're just, they're just going in, they're having a good old brawl, and then obviously the...
No, don't say deathmatch and brawl. It's deathmatch, not brawl. It's deathmatch.
Changing up every single time, and it's just...
It is
to be honest,
it's
fairly similar to what I played back at BlizzCon all those years ago. Just with one less tank. It's just
this is not easier to follow. There's literally way more chaotic.
Like I'm somebody who's
so insane. So
yeah. So the point I'm making about it being more chaotic actually makes sense in this context because in old standard Overwatch, where you have 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 supports, it was almost like playing chess where you had like rows. This, like, obviously is all over the place, like just TDM, but like this is the Overwatch we're used to now that like it doesn't seem crazy, but in this moment this was wild.
like
being all over the place. Like there was a tank alive at one point.
Insane.
You know what I mean?
So
there was a very clear front line, back line.
I'm not unmuting myself to talk to Emon.
Like even at times like even the term backline has kind of lost its meaning at this point in a lot of ways. Where it's like you always like dive the backline, attack the backline, because like the backline could be any one of the 4 squishies at this point.
So we ended up condensing all of the
I'm not unmuting myself to talk to Emon either, because I don't want to like if his stream is being more positive, but I don't want to infect him. But
it was kind of
I'm sorry guys, I can't be positive about this. I literally can't. Like I genuinely even said when I first started I want to see what it looks like and try. I genuinely want to try, but it's just awful.
It was kind of nonsense.
Like how are you looking at this and saying this is easier to follow and looks fun?
You know, you see somebody with green.
It's literally 4v4 deathmatch. Throw in a tank. That's it. You know the arcade mode that's 4v4 deathmatch? It's literally just that without the tanks.
Back and forth, but I noticed before there was like a circle. So is there like
was Emong's stream more positive? I am actually extremely proud of Emong these days. He's actually come out a lot of ways and like actually talks about his opinions and stuff like that because he used to not do that as much. So this was a time where he was like very, very positive on his stream at all times. I never wanted to like ruin his vibe, you know? Even if like, you know, he might have not thought it was like the best, like he would try to look at on the bright side, you know? So it's like, I don't actually remember in the moment if his stream was more positive or not. But like that was just me trying to like give respect.
Kind of capture points, like progress. Does that
spawn room for the team that was able to do it? You can kind of see it just off to the left here behind Reinhardt. So if the attacking team can push it over there, they'll unlock
watch any of these tanks.
And it gives them
and I really am not flaming like the players, okay? Like I'm not trying to be an asshole to like the players playing the game. But neither tank has made a single impactful play the entire game. Not one. I don't even think if any of them have gotten a kill.
Yeah, but there is there is an additional detail there. It's
real talk. Has either tank gotten a kill yet
before you lose your forward spawn room? And we
right nice as I said that, yeah.
The way that you described it, but a lot of times the robot could just move back and forth across this one checkpoint, and it got like.
And I've already been playing one for years, so now I'm gonna make it two.
Spawn, so we kind of gave you a grace period in there, or made it a little bit stickier. But it was way too blatant.
This
with
double bubble Zarya is sick.
She is incredible. I love her.
She's not incredible though, because if you just run Widow, Hanzo, she literally is useless. We watched her on the last map. She literally didn't exist.
Like more so.
Yeah. So you have the same bubbles you had before, but they're both using shared charges. So yeah, we found
that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like actually,
use it. She tends to be at higher charge more often. I mean, this is a good example, I guess. But
time of the blue team. So the win condition for push.
Whoever's dono that was just got cut off because like someone was gonna give an opinion on a dono and it just got skipped.
Whoever has pushed it the furthest by the end of time.
Overwatch isn't in a great so we haven't got concept.
Or if you're able to.
That's called Counterwatch? Wait, did I say Counterwatch right there? Hold on.
She is incredible. I love her.
She's not incredible though, because if you just run Widow, Hanzo, she literally is useless. We watched her on the last map. She literally didn't exist.
Wait a minute. Actually, wait a minute.
So you have.
Can I see the top so you can see the enemy team comp? Dude, the team comp doesn't matter that much right now, does it? Okay, sure, dude. Like it's not really the point of this, but okay, there you go.
You had before, but they're both using shared charges. So yeah, we found
that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like actually,
use it. She tends to be at higher charge more often. I mean, this is a good example, I guess. But
time of the blue team. So the win condition for push is whoever has pushed it the furthest by the end of time.
Overwatch isn't in a great so we haven't got concept.
Or if you're able
legitimately
to
years, but apparently it's in a good state because it has 2 tanks in it.
So now they're unlocking their forward spawn room right here.
That's the most iconic line from this so far.
I imagine these games go right down to the wire.
It's definitely hectic there towards the end. This is going to be quite good for Overwatch League, I'd imagine. This is. I enjoyed that.
Wait, hang on, what was that?
It's definitely hectic there towards the end. This is going to be quite good for Overwatch League, I'd imagine.
Oh, that aged like milk. I'm sorry.
This is. I enjoyed.
What's an Overwatch League?
I really enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, you said it's good for Overwatch League. I'm gonna be honest with you, Stylos, for 2 seconds.
Yeah, when you
here's the thing.
Like,
do you know how many Overwatch League players just lost their job because this one change?
Big like.
Do you know how many tank players literally are gonna lose their job because this one change?
You see it there. I
think about that for 2 seconds. Yeah, real good for Overwatch League, dude. Real good.
Oh no, I was right.
Looks trash. These changes look trash. Not only for competitive ranked players, quick play ranked players might like it, and I'd probably just put out a job at least 20 tank players in the Overwatch League. Good job, dude.
That's really nice.
Yeah, really.
It's got that Overwatch music where it kind of adds.
Isn't that like legitimately exactly what happened too? Oh Jesus!
The suspense of it all.
So hard that mechanics and the map design is all kind of tailored to have that, and it makes it like really exciting.
Oh god!
Dude, don't even worry about being me anymore. We'll figure it out. We'll be fine.
Moving, fast flow.
We're content creators.
Combat.
We can make Overwatch content in different ways. We can make other content for other games. We'll be okay. But these are people that have put years of their lives in to grind to become professional players.
Like we saw Zarya there on push. Like it's
they're trying to save a few bucks.
So
have the league format changed. Have the game format changed.
She looked unkillable all the time.
Cringe.
She looked crazy.
She's really scary in this form for sure, and you know I think that's kind of
spectatings, cheaters and bronze, Mystery Heroes Tuesdays.
What we're thinking for a lot of these
oh no,
you know, sort of off tanky kind of characters before, you know, Roadhog and
Wolf and people need to be loud about this because they even said they're open to talking.
It's worth noting that we're not
they're people. They're not assholes.
Making them super aggro.
They're not assholes.
Pushing some of the more aggro tanks and making them a little tankier. So I mean, a lot of
we all just want the best.
People notice, but
this is nonsense.
More sort of matrix juice in the can, so she can use it a lot more. So that's an example of where we didn't just like give them.
Come on, Super. I have so much faith in Super here. Come on, please, dude.
I think I remember being. I think I remember being kind of.
Players molding? No, everyone who plays.
Kind of
this
annoyed
game
at this one.
To be honest with you, because your ass standing off point now. Your tank is useless. You don't get to have position and you don't get to take gunfights. You're playing TDM now. Congrats, dude. Good luck.
Over the next few maps, but we want to drill down on a couple of the things we've already talked about so far. And to help me do that now, we'll be joining our Overwatch League superstar Matthew Super Delissi, of course. Is
I remember whenever Overwatch League needed anything, they always pull them out.
How you doing, Super? Obviously, big news today. I'd love to get some of your initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First of all, I mean the tank changes. That's definitely the one that kind of stuck out to me. The fact that only one tank, because I'm a tank player, and my experience with tank, it goes up, it goes down. Sometimes you get bullied as a tank with two. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna progress and change to make it so that it's a lot easier for one tank to be work properly and not have as many struggles.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I think you watch in any sort of tank player's stream right now. You can sort of see
his mic's not doing too hot.
And also some of the down tier. Obviously, we saw, maybe some more power being
whose mic was that? Was it mine that I was hitting?
We saw Reinhardt with the double fire strikes. He's got some more of that charge control and the Winston changes. What was your thoughts when you first saw the fact that Winston had...
Well, no. What Super said actually this time was 1000% true. You say like you're bullied more now. He's referring to was the CC of Overwatch 1 because you had flashbang. You had break, bash, May freeze, fully freezing you, hack being the full like 8-second lockout. A lot of those things like pull, Orisa pull rock. You're talking about like Orisa or Sigma's rock or hook, pull hook. Obviously pin, but that one wasn't anything crazy. Trying to think what else off the top of my head. But yeah, like. Even now, if you look at it, it's like, well, today it's worse. Well, actually, he's still not wrong because he's talking about CC, I think, at this time.
To the fight.
Yeah, I thought that was
Doom Punch.
Interesting. I also like that they grabbed the Zarya from the experimental. I mean, at least when I played the experimental, I thought that the cooldown needed to be shorter on that. But I like that in general. They're trying to give more power if it's going to be just one tank, because I feel like otherwise, a lot of tanks like Zarya and D.Va. They would kind of struggle because the way they're designed right now, I feel like they weren't really you know, made to be played solo, if that makes sense.
I feel like that's still true.
But now I feel like if they do the proper changes, then I think it could actually be pretty good.
Okay, that's cool.
Absolutely. You saw there as well a couple of the changes. We mentioned Winston's. Maze, we haven't really talked.
May was the first one we sort of checked into the build and wanted to play with for a long time. So if you notice here, she doesn't actually fully
Why
freeze
two
the
flats?
enemy
Because this
at
is
all.
past
She still
flats.
slows them, but
Thank
she doesn't
God.
never go to a stun all the way.
Thank God.
The compensation, of course, does a lot more damage. So it's.
I love how they hit us with this boom, and then they're like trying to like show like little things like, oh, we took away this thing. You guys hated that thing, right?
But you never actually get in that lockdown state. You're like, okay, well, here's the free headshot. I guess I'm dead. It's, you know, and for her, it's really interesting too because she still has, at least right now, she still has that sort of cleave effect, the piercing that can hit multiple targets. So and you're doing so much damage now.
Oh, so we don't take that out of the live game because you wanted to use that as an excuse to put it in Overwatch 2, because then now it's like, hey,
piercing through tank or. You know,
yeah, you might not like this stuff, like but look what we did. We did the thing you asked for.
So it's kind of an interesting. Still has an interesting back
Kill me, dude.
Secondary fire as well. But as I mentioned, it's kind of the tip of the iceberg because what we're really playing.
What year was this video? This was posted 2 days ago, so I actually don't know when the original one. I would assume it's probably 2021 summer-ish. Are you that dry on content? You're reacting to yourself? No, I've gotten sent this a bunch of times. Apparently, this is just an hour and 12 minutes of me predicting the future perfectly.
What it means to be a tank player, and I think talking about
still absolutely not. It won't happen. It literally won't happen. Because what he said,
we have. I mean, I can see it here in a little preview.
What he said,
our next map is
what
really
Jeff said,
and it really captures, I think, the
was that if they tuned all that stuff back, then they'd have to look at heroes like Doomfist, Tracer, Ball, and they are countered by CC. So he's saying that they don't want to really change those heroes, and the only reason they would even have to change those heroes is because they want to have to give it all the CC.
Spent a part of their life there, so it's pretty.
So it's not going to happen.
Kind of
they'll tone it down if anything.
This Overwatch version of.
But then they have to tone those heroes down too. That's what they're saying is there's trade-offs.
Vibrant club, you get to visit where Lucio's club is.
If anything has taught us about Overwatch is when there's major trade-offs, they don't want to touch it.
Brazilian barbecue place, you know, it's another map. We're just having a lot of fun creating different details and.
Damn, it actually looks so different. They changed a bunch.
Dude, like, you gotta understand, like. You can't just go flame him on stream. Like that doesn't work. Not that he probably would anyways. But
oh, younger me wasn't completely stupid.
Been said.
So we're just having fun with these maps.
I think.
The cool Brazilian barbecue.
I still think though it's not gonna work. Because what they're saying is they could tone other stuff down, but then if they tone the other stuff down, the other heroes have to be toned as well. And there's so many things they'd have to tune in a row that would take literally years to rebalance.
Credited for is there. Can you obviously I don't want you to give away too much.
Where we're going with that, but we're not
Overwatch League pro player. Like he didn't retire the week after.
Also, it's kind of a community.
Hi,
place,
we're on the same page.
If it was real, people can come there for free. He's a community.
Right, so this.
So I do have a question for Jeff. Sorry to cut you off, Mitch, but I do have a question if that's fine. So if I'm pretty sure like
repeat that part. What part? This one.
Where we're going with that, but
for is there. Can you obviously I don't want you to give away
you're gonna have to go back and get on your own. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I do have a question if that's fine. So if I'm pretty sure like way back in the day there was like an interview that I read that was like 5 was too small and 7 was too big for the roster limit, and then 6 was perfect. But like I'm kind of curious like where along like the Overwatch timeline did that philosophy kind of change?
You know who
like,
said that, chat?
Was it like
Jeff?
People learning
I
how
know
to
that
play the
article
game
he's
better?
talking about.
Like
Jeff said that.
All of this, yeah.
Wait, I'm referencing the article that we talked about with 5v5 and 7v7 all the way back here. Holy shit.
Can we get a mod check?
I mean, we know so
Can
much
we get a mod check for Jeff?
Can
we get a mod check, Jeff?
Before everything, and you could just play 5 Winstons. In fact, we had an internal tournament where that was the strategy. 5 Winston's hands, and it marinates for a while, and you're making changes. Like, your opinion on this stuff definitely changes. So, I think over time...
they cut away because they just watched the Winston explode.
Still keeping an open mind.
So they cut away from it? Are you kidding me?
Doing some of these kind of changes, and then coming Overwatch 2, you were just like, let's... Who knows?
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. If one tank feeds, right... There's still a really good chance you win that fight, because if they were low and you get another, you trade a tank right after, you can still win the fight. what this is showing is if that tank dies, they
wait. Doom's still a DPS
I'm no
here.
stranger to peacocking. Look at what I'm wearing. But this is great. Obviously,
you want to talk about like and toxicity and stuff isn't something I really talk about too much. Like, oh, that'll cause toxicity. That's not something that's big on like something I've talked about too much. But to be honest with you, people are going to be micromanaged to all hell. It's going to be insane.
Second phase, all of a sudden, it's less about chokes and overpasses, and it's just
improve the options the players have to solve situations.
Are there going to be previous maps in Overwatch 1 that will be reworked, or?
We don't know yet.
Can you not say? Is that secret?
No.
Or?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
No, the answer to that is no. They haven't even thought of that.
Look, you've got one less hero on the battlefield. Your maps are.
He just talked about how they thought about a design philosophy. They'll change all the heroes CC and how they'll change. They change his hero CC, then they have to balance other heroes. That is not a hidden secret. They've never thought of that.
Where, like, you know, if you go too far one direction, right, it can seem quite barren. But here,
visually as well as gameplay wise.
This really has like a Dorado feel, almost, right? We have sort of payloads sort of moving through under
the Fast Flats is probably wrong there. They probably had thought about it. They probably just hadn't worked on that yet, though. That's the difference of future Flats knowledge versus old Flats knowledge. I know the truth is probably now that they've actually have thought about it, but they didn't have a chance to work on it yet because they've been doing all this other shit. So the answer is still the same. No, but the reasoning's different.
I'm realizing more than anything is even though these players aren't like that good, obviously, like you could tell, like, you know, they're not very high level, obviously. The DPS players and the support players are actually making impactful plays here and there sometimes. The tank players have made no impact. Like, zero. Nada. So if you're talking about in perspective
really
scale,
if you can hold it, it's fantastic, but it's just really hard to
if
hold.
they also aren't making any plays, but the DPS can, and they're all around the same rank, and the support can,
it ends up being like
that tells me either tank is now extremely difficult to play,
you don't have tanks that just sit on
B, or it's just completely unimpactful.
It's so powerful. You can see where Widow is right there.
Or
it's
C,
so powerful. You have this line of sight on everything up there.
There's something that I'm not seeing yet.
Is universal ult charge nerfed, or is it just as a result of the
huge barrier Reinhardt? But certainly, yeah. Should have given the first ball, but you know, he went for it.
The answer was D, all of the above.
Yeah, so like, there's a lot of changes we can make now.
Oh, what, the Hog made a micro mistake that all of his teammates who are also the same level have all been making even worse mistakes? Oh wait, it's noticeable because it's a solo tank.
Maybe we can bring that back, especially in a world when the hero themselves now. Because if you get to go in and be threatening, like with all this extra damage, and just be hard to kill, you're just bringing space by existing.
What an animal.
Obviously,
wow, that was really exciting.
I'm curious if
both the tanks did a lot there to each other.
Tank, right? And you know, you'll play, you know, main tank more about game design. So that's what I kind of wondered. Like, outside of just
that's totally what I was getting at.
Sort of balance a tank to make them feel powerful without just pumping numbers.
Funny is like the most impactful hog looks here is through his hooks and killing somebody.
That's probably a design philosophy.
That couldn't really work anymore because like there was no way to mitigate that, so they took it away, and so now it's just like bullet sponge that doesn't die, and it's so much more frustrating. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's like.
So it feels like almost responsibility as a tank player is almost kicked up a notch there, because you got to be a jack of all trades in some cases.
Especially if crowd control gets reduced to a point where you're looking for to counter something specific, like you're looking for.
Yeah, but now why is the stream talked about if we did this, if we made it all CC better? Like, did they just get the idea during the stream, and now they're like, "Oh shit, that's pretty good."
Game changer.
You're talking about that. Like, we should do that.
Like, make sure it's up, and then you save it, and try to keep an eye on him. And conversely, if you're
past me. Wild. That's definitely not how that went. But
they knew you really feels like the environment strong, and now they're trying to break you up. Frown, I'm actually pretty sad about it.
I thought that was my actual TTS.
Very quickly. All the anger and all the things I'm talking about has nothing to do with me playing tank and Emon playing tank. It has nothing to do with that. Like, it literally has nothing. This is literally genuinely bad changes for the whole game. That's it. Period.
Right. Yeah.
Wow,
hide in terror.
That's a big part of it as well. Like, it's not just when you fire, but you know, getting
dude,
hit
let's
by
talk once. Holy shit, dude.
Seems like it. Yeah, it has more of an impact. It's not like when you're fighting for your life with 9 other people. Superman. I mean, naturally, you know, these are changes that, you know, some of them you thought about before. Obviously, having played so much tank, and maybe you wish for some of these, and you know, I'd love to get some of your.
They took super hostage
on how tank is going to feel, and heading into Overwatch 2, as I'm sure you'll be strapped in and playing?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I have to get a chance to play it first, but based on what I've seen, it looks like
Futurist didn't know he was retiring after this.
I feel like, or a lot more of a role to play, because you don't really have that second tank to help you out and kind of help clean up your mistakes, if you will. Like, if you get hooked, you get a bubble or matrix or whatever it may be. So I feel like in general, it looks like tanks are going to play a lot smarter. But you do get the plus side of having both supports only focus on you as opposed to having two. So I think it'll be interesting.
You know what's actually very funny? Because Super's logic in this was actually still right. Like, you talked about like the more pressure and like how it's gonna be more impactful, but both supports will look at you. But then the support philosophy changed, and it went from like healing your tanks to DPS style. So now actually that ended up no longer being the case. So you actually don't get that benefit.
Well, we're interested to hear some of your thoughts, of course, as the live stream goes, and as
we didn't consider that as an option.
Oh man, I really like seeing all the new like hero looks and like the map visuals, and the UI updates have been really cool, especially as like a support player. I'm seeing a lot of little like UI updates for like support heroes, and I'm really excited about them.
No, I don't think 5v5 era is worse than
absolutely. You and me both
content drought. I think that's dramatic.
A little bit more out of our devs.
Turn down their update. We mean turn down their update.
A little bit more about Overwatch 2.
I didn't get context, but anything.
Yes, we will be showing another map in just a moment. So let's take the opportunity to sort of bring these devs back in. Of course, obviously Jeff and Dion have given us some
chat. Control yourselves
so far, because something that was teased. Just
because we're angry about what's going on, do not be angry at
that. Was actually the hero.
I'll start one tapping.
Right?
Do not do it.
Is it's a game that's set a little bit further, sort of in a sense as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love that you kind of this is cheeky. You're kind of teasing little bits of the story or how the world changes out as we go. So that's just
honestly, I don't give a kind of shit. And if you do, I'm really sorry. So if you want to go to another stream, come back. It's fine. But can I talk for like 2 seconds? Can I talk for like 2 seconds?
Oh no.
Tell us about what the development process on these changes is like.
I'm gonna be honest.
I think we sort of mentioned that there's sort of new tech available to developers to sort of bring these characters to life, but I'd love to know how you go.
It feels like it's being kind of I mean, obviously it's a live stream, it's a show, but it feels like it was kind of being strung along when Super was on.
Really cool,
and I'm not gonna speak for him or anything like that, I felt like that really got strung along, and he had some really good points. Like, he was talking about like, hey, like, if you were gonna do this, we do realize there's other changes on the back end that needs to be made. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like, is that something you'd want to like, like, would CC be toned down? Would they be buffed, etc.? Those are legitimately real questions, and it's really concerning that it kind of sounded like they came up with one of the ideas on the fly and started talking about it.
Future Flats knows that that's not what it is. It's the fact that they were probably held like hostage by Blizzard PR, and that they were not allowed to actually go off of script. So Super's question probably caught him off guard, and the old Blizzard PR team, and to be fair, it's definitely a lot different these days. Like, they probably had like a whole running script for the show of like the live stream, and that was like one of the things that like they hadn't found out if they're allowed to talk about. Like, if you watch like me and Aaron do like our interview or like anything like that, so much more of it is just like on the fly, and he just rips shit, and it's just like, whoa, like stuff like that would never happen at this time. So I understand why old me felt like they were kind of like just trotting him out there,
gear and
like, it didn't even sound like there was something they had talked about. It was like, oh yeah, but if we did that, because he literally said it's hot off the presses. His exact words, Jeff's exact words were, it's hot, right? This is right hot off the presses, but we toned down CC, and we got rid of McCree flashbang, Brig whip shot, etc. Right?
I'm curious about
and
who? Wait, who? Got rid of whose flashbang?
It sounded like they came up with it in the moment and said, "Oh yeah, like we could totally do that."
From all the
right?
Heroes from Overwatch, and like.
And then they talked about it more as they went on. Like, they were like almost brainstorming.
Wait, that's how old this is. Holy shit, they hadn't even changed the name yet.
As it was going. That's f***ing scary. Were we just gonna go in with the same shit already?
So
and it's kind of like at that point,
for example, the skin shader.
If you haven't thought that far ahead,
skins as well.
Have we not thought far enough ahead for
working hard to
for that?
The workflow that's easier for the artist, but it's still.
What the fuck was I talking about
there?
there?
Of work there, but
I was still on the same point.
Or something like that, so we have more ways to customize the way our heroes.
Keep the together. My stream is never about that shit.
You have to wait and see.
You're angry about what's going on? Be angry about what's going on. Don't say shit about the people that are on here, okay? It's your last warning.
I remember that was one of the things that people got mad about the most, because people were saying dumb shit in my chat and they started getting banned, and then like they went running around like, oh my god.
Stream attitude from him very clearly displayed, though. I think that's very much still been.
I thought we were doing PvP.
And we want to upgrade the characters, but we don't want to lose that silhouette that's familiar to players. He still looks like Torbjorn from a distance.
Was the PvP over?
Better and more detailed up close, but he maintains that silhouette we come to know and love and like to shoot at. So
I'm shocked you gave a warning. I was also a much smaller streamer at that time, so I didn't really have to deal with it that often.
PvP, it's devs versus community. No shit.
Who the f said that?
Not just obviously how he's
I'm curious to see how this battle plays out once the players get to the.
So are we not gonna see any of the Owl okay, so we brought in the Overwatch League, and we're not gonna see any Overwatch League players, like any good players play the game. We're not gonna see one set of good players. Really? Like, nothing against these guys. I've said it a million times. It's not against their skill. I just want to see what good players playing this game would actually end up looking like, because I think you'd see Widow v Widow. Boom.
The subtlety
kills the other Widow. Boom, 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 and kills the other three.
It's so amazing, and you
can we see good players?
Off, and certain of them are open as far as in between the pillars, and that was.
Can we see good players?
Quite a bit. I remember.
I'm sorry, no offense to these guys. I really don't mean to be mean to them. I'm really not. It's just the truth of what we should be doing right now.
If you're like a Pharah or Genji and you want to get cheeky.
The icons of who it's on, I like the. I wish to see more with Ana.
You know what it also would do? It would show us that if there was truth to what's being said, of like, hey, like this actually has a lot of good promise, etc. And seeing them actually play it,
I feel like I have to tell.
If they played it and it looked good, holy shit, that would be great. They'd be like, oh, like that gives like some faith of like, okay, maybe there's something to be said here. But it very much feels right now like this is being scripted, not like to love, like obviously it's scripted, like, you know what I mean, like, oh hey, like we're gonna do this section, etc. But it feels very much like, oh yes, everything is perfect, nothing is actually wrong at all, there is no questions, don't be afraid, everything is great. Like, it's like you're talking radical major changes and not really like being,
healing or damage boosting you, right? Obviously your screen sort of.
So like I was saying earlier about the whole nowadays is different than then, that is the PR stuff. That's exactly what I was talking about, and I still feel that I know what I'm talking about back then. It's different today, though. It is absolutely different today, which is great, because we wouldn't get half the communication, and hell, we wouldn't even have the conversation about this whole format stuff with old version Blizzard.
97% of this player base is this bad or worse. Yeah, but what does that have to do with it? You don't balance competitive games from the bottom up. You balance from the top down.
Damn! Hit him with it! Hit him with it! Don't back down!
Your inbox is sort of
regardless of what they do, if they take one person,
I sort of wonder what look, it was mentioned at Blizzard Online as well that sort of the assault game mode sort of there wouldn't be sort of further maps developed for, right? The focus would not.
And I'm open to it. I'm open. I'm open-minded, but I want to see good players try it. Because, like Fab said, you say most of the player base is like this bad or worse, which, by the way, I think this is like gold players, so I don't think that's totally true. But
probably most
you have to also understand
gold at this time, by the
neither
way.
tank player on either team has almost
very different than today.
In all these games, the best guy we saw was the Hog last game. He got like 3 hooks, and that was the best we've ever seen.
No shit.
Nobody has made any plays. The DPS are getting kills, the supports are doing their jobs. Tanks have literally not made a single ounce of impact in any of these games. Not one little bit. So tell me how it's more fun. Tell me how it's better, because they're not going to do anything. They're going to AFK.
What do you want to do? And it was like, the hardest problem ever. Go ahead and solve it, you guys. We've got went through a lot of changes, and
yeah, you make a good point. Why are my headphones holding on for dear life? You guys talked about my hairline earlier. My hairline got eaten by the headphones.
We were
like imagine queuing up a game and picking Diva. Your team would go bananas.
At that point,
think about that one for 2 seconds.
Wait, what?
It got to the point where we were like
imagine queuing up a game and picking Diva. Your team would go bananas.
At that point,
think about that one for 2 seconds.
Why don't we just make?
You want to talk about the other huge percentage of the player base? That other percentage of the player base doesn't see a Reinhardt in front of them. They're gonna scream. Guess what? You only get Reinhardt now. You only get a hog. You only get whatever the meta tank is. There literally is no other tank to run.
I would say that
there is literally only whatever the meta tank is now. You want to talk meta? When people find out what the meta tank is, you got 5 people yelling at one guy to tell him to play a certain hero. At least right now, if you're like, let's play meta, and your other tank picks Hog, the other guy goes, well, not much I can do about it. He's playing Hog. I gotta play something else. And you have 2 people, and the game has to be like either both have to switch, or that it kind of like turns into like this little like push pull. But now imagine how helpless you feel now. Amplify that by 10 when they have a full meta comp with a Ryan or with a Zarya or whatever. And guess what you have? You got a Diva, and he ain't swapping.
I was just gonna comment on it because we were there. Although they
this is the one, by the way, 4 months. Appreciate it.
I mentioned 2 things. Is that
get ready for that one.
It's like this like corkscrew. It's interesting and very impactful. And so
if you can't tell in your brand new game whether something's fun or not, that probably means it's not fun.
Big impact is almost more important if you can get the good stuff of it. So after a lot of iteration, it's
if you just made something that's brand new and supposed to attract people to it, and you can't figure out if it's fun, that's probably a bad sign, is it not?
Flank from on top to drop down below because you have to go under this path.
Seems like a game mode that's catered to like.
That does actually still kind of ring true to this day. You know, you see something, you're like, yeah, it doesn't look that great. It looks okay. You know, sometimes you try and you go, oh, this is actually not that bad. You know, but
giving these like adrenaline sort of pumping moments of overtime. Right?
Zarya counter swap Diva day 1.
It seems like there's a lot of overtime moments.
What I love though is that these buildings don't seem decoration. Like even
no.
Like
what was that dono?
Like giving these like adrenaline sort of pumping moments of overtime, right?
This is the fact that even if he is the Overwatch,
it seems like there's a lot of overtime moments.
What I love though is that these buildings don't seem decoration. Like even
no, it's if it isn't changed before it goes live, it will never change. As promised, I'm telling you.
Exactly.
Hey. That is one thing we've been wrong about, though. Well, I mean, I guess technically not, because it hasn't happened yet, but potentially could be wrong, because, like, today's is a little bit different than back then, but,
you have to think of everything.
I mean, I guess it's not even wrong. It's just potential for being
the
wrong.
Shot callers out there are going to have to be thinking a mile a minute just how they can take advantage of the sort of topography of the map as it sort of changes.
Oh, no. Nobody tell them. Nobody tell them.
But either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you gigabuff tanks, the tanks become even more oppressive, and games are decided by that tank diff. But if you don't buff them, they are useless. They just sit there AFK.
But the map sort of changes the feel.
It doesn't fix the problem.
It does.
It doesn't fix it at all.
It feels a lot different.
Like if the problem that they had was with tanks being too strong in the game.
I'm curious how it's gonna work on
their problem there doesn't get fixed by removing one because you either make it then useless.
500. I'm not GM. Like I'm plat. You know, a lot of my Overwatch experience as a support. Like I solo queue support. You know, like the struggle is real. And so my experience is like, you know, I have my tanks that just like Leroy Jenkins in and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm just trying to like keep up, you know? So I'm curious, you know, how that's going to go on like, as like plat games, you know?
Yeah, but now
we're going to find out because I sure.
Plat's predicted the patch that would turn him back into a 6v6er. Hey, I didn't say I was, by the way, but okay, you kind of clocked me a little bit there. But like, I listen. I think there's good and bad on both sides. It's legitimately not. I actually don't think either of them is the answer. We're not gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna mention it really quick, just to refute your point. I'm not a 6v6er, but I'm not a 5v5er. I'm a 7v7er. We'll talk about it some other time. Not right now. But I just wanted to correct you though, because I don't want you thinking I'm a 6v6er, but I don't want you also thinking I'm a 5v5er. Okay, don't get it twisted.
They pick ball, they roll into their team, they die.
You know, curious, you know, how that's gonna go on like as like plat games. You know,
local fence man sits on fence. How am I sitting on a fence? I just said I'm not talking about it right now. I literally just put my stake. You guys are sitting on the battlefield looking at each other, and I literally just claim my own territories. Like, this is mine. Join me. That's not on the fence. That's both of you. You're both stupid. I'm doing this option. That's not fence sitting. Fence sitting is like, well, I want to be, I think we can both make it work. No, you both suck. I'm going over here. But I don't think that's actually, I don't know if that's a feasible option. So that's where the fence sitting, quote unquote, will come in. Because it's like, they both are good and they both actually suck, you know? Anyways, let's go.
Yeah, but now
I'm gonna find out because I sure as
they pick ball, they roll into their team, they die.
That's what I'm gonna be.
Or you're even better.
Hang on, I gotta back up again. What did I say about ball?
As like plat games, you know.
Yeah, but now
I'm gonna find out because I sure as
they pick ball, they roll into their team, they die. Or you're even better. They pick hog, walk into their team and die.
So y'all know how I feel. Okay.
You know, like she does provide like a casual in look, which is great. Which is why it's really good they have her on. You know. I mean,
we started from that.
You have to understand that casuals are a big part of the game. You know, and you shouldn't be saying anything about her because of her rank. She's openly talking about being plat.
I mean, speaking of incredible locations, we actually.
I remember this. There was people in chat that were saying like, "Why don't they just have a bunch of really high level players on?" And I was refuting them. That's why we're talking about that.
Everybody.
But like,
so, ladies and gentlemen, stick around.
I actually remember that.
It's gonna have the same problems in plat. Like, it has nothing to do with.
Chat was pissing me off that day.
Each rank will have the same.
Because I don't like when people do that.
Of this Overwatch 2 PvP.
I mean, I still do that to this day, where I like if I criticize stuff or I don't like changes, I'll always say like, you can criticize the work, but like I'm not gonna attack the person. That's just cringe. You know what I mean?
My chat. I try to always set a good example for you guys, okay? And I do try to do the best I can. I am angry right now. I am mad. You haven't told. You haven't figured it out yet. I don't typically get mad like this, you know? Because I know this is not good. Not only for the game, for my own, you know, enjoyment, my own job security, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? But I will not attack any of these people personally. And if you do, you're a piece of shit. So shut the up. You can talk about the game being bad. You can talk about the decisions being bad, and then you end it at that.
Some things never change. Morals never change.
Is that something that you guys are looking at with map design, of just like how you guys can change like verticality, levels of terrain?
I'm going bathroom, dude. That's something I care about right there.
Certain heroes or certain roles to really kind of take advantage of that.
Just
we're definitely doing that.
It was flat before, and then you reached the first objective, and now you're on the hill. And they'll move into the hotel for the final objective.
Am I okay?
So there's this visual progression to completing objectives. And you feel like you're making progress through the map because the world around you is somewhat
I'm really not somebody who like stamps my feet and gets really mad and talks about like dog shit devs like don't know what they're doing because they work real hard.
Start through that choke area, goes towards that high.
And so people would say like, oh, Fletch, you changed. No, I'm literally the same exact dude. I just articulate myself a little bit better and a little bit more calmly these days. Even all the way back then, this is probably one of the maddest times I've been on stream, like upset about something. And I still have the same core. Like that doesn't change.
Ground, and then
but
you have
this
that, like, interior
is bad.
The interior for this map.
This is
one of the cooler
and
things.
I have talked very highly the past couple weeks about not only Overwatch 2 and everything.
We'll get to see it, but just the
I said that your Overwatch talking about being 5v5 is literally just like a just a take to get us through to Overwatch 2. Like that, they would never do that. They're not that stupid. We're watching silver players play Widow and dominate because they literally can't do anything about it. This is like a silver or gold game
over time.
Average
Overwatch map design
and the Widows are unbeatable. The Widows are dominating what these games.
Circuit Royale, and there's a Widow killing everybody. Chat, I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. I don't even understand the level of power that has come out of this. What in the fuck, man? Oh god.
The presence or the importance of high ground.
You can't. Dude. I feel like I should have much more of an ego at this point about like some of this stuff. It's insane. I'm actually in awe of my own past self at this point. This is ridiculous. On Widow, on Circuit Royale especially.
It really can't be understated. in this game, and so we're trying to give more of that to teams. And
oh man, no. It's nothing against Curly Mustache. I just tweeted it. I would love to have seen some of these games at high level to play. Like, why?
Put some respect on Curly Mustache's name.
I know what the reason is. I know the answer. But why didn't they grab either a bunch of GM players or Overwatch League players or a bunch of streamers? Like why wouldn't, like, what if they threw me, Emong, Jay, Sam, Boger, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just looking at like chat. Like, I'm to be honest with you, I can't even think right now. I genuinely can't even think. I'm overwhelmed. They grabbed like a bunch of players, have us come in and test it and show people like, hey, this is what it would look like at high level play, and people could be like, holy shit, that's what it looks like. But look at this, it's so slow, it's so boring. Like, it's literally dominated by what sniper hits the first shot.
But that's just from my point of view.
Airs are very shallow, and we don't.
I mean, have you seen what happened with some of the tanks? Like, don't get me wrong, they're not the best players. Like, it's okay. Like, it's nothing against them personally, but they haven't done anything. In 4 maps, not a single tank player has made a play other than the Hog on second map got 3 hooks in a row and actually popped off. Other than that, neither tank has done anything.
I was worried past me didn't talk about that. I was like, damn, I feel like I wasn't fully genuine, because I felt like that one map the Hog did get kills, and I looped back around and talked about it. That was my one self-criticism I was going to remember for the end, that I didn't give credit that there were times that the Hog, like, there was at least the Hog doing stuff, and then I came back around.
For 4 games.
Interesting point. That
not one play. Not one.
Yeah, we didn't even get to see tank POVs that often either.
Yeah, but don't let the monkey Tesla shot thing distract you from what's actually happening. Monkey, one play, not one. Neither tank has done anything for 4 games.
Interesting point.
Not one play, not one.
Taken kind of a notice of.
Yeah, but don't let the monkey Tesla shot thing distract you from what's actually happening.
Like, there's kind of turns to get to that elevation.
There are some iconic lines out of this one I never realized existed.
Happening. Look at this.
Just to keep
like,
everything
they literally can't do anything. There's nothing to do about it.
Yep. So that's part of it, to keep it.
This is Soldier 76 in 2021, dominating
like,
with a Ash.
Really, like.
You know what their Zarya's doing? Their Zarya's just AFK on the low ground.
Overcome a really steep staircase. It's almost like a wall in front of you, and you don't know what's
old you as an oracle? What do you mean old me? It's never changed.
And so.
No, I'm just kidding. I actually am not that confident at this point. I still got like 95%, but I just don't play as much. Like, if I still played as often as I was at this point, or even towards the beginning and middle of Overwatch 2, I bet I could still get it right 100%, like almost 100% of the time. But I just don't care as much. Like, the game's just not fun. You know? Like, that's it. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. I told you a year ago. You know, people get upset if they see streamer mad, right? Like, if I talk about stuff, it's like, oh, you're just being crybaby on internet. It's like, okay, I don't give a anymore. Now what?
We always like for players to be able to run through our maps,
Boger, of course.
Look at space and kind of develop a.
You're one of the best Winstons out there, especially on the ladder. You know, like, I like to put Overwatch League players in their own category, but like you and I, we know what, you know what I mean.
This is before Boger started being a little silly when he's actually good at the game.
I just don't like to go near that topic, but like, one of the best Winston players out there, and you would probably struggle in this, because you know what happened? You jump up, you turn around so you don't get headshot by Widow. She still shoots you through your legs. The Hanzo's already eaten you, and Ana took a shot on the way by, and you went back to spawn so fast you got to look and talk and chat again.
I called it.
This is the greatest thing for tank streamers. I can sit here and talk to chat all day long now because there's nothing to do.
Going up towards the balcony. And yeah, that does.
Someone's gonna get an Emong clip, because I've heard Emong say that exact sentence before, where he's like. Where he's like, yeah, it's great. I got one shot. I get to talk to chat on the way back.
All I gotta do is find a crazy Widow player to duo with, and I'll just talk to chat the whole game.
Top of the stairs with Horizon, you can't see where he's shooting you from, and you're just kind of getting pelted on the way up. It's not the best of feelings, you know.
To my knowledge, I didn't know. I had no idea about 5v5.
Yeah,
watch the beginning of this stream. Watch the beginning before this happened. I said.
Someone probably said
that will never happen.
This was coming.
5v5 will not happen. That was just a play Overwatch video.
Keep the
Nobody said anything about it. No one said anything. Wasn't gonna happen.
Area, like, you see where that soldier is sitting up top? Like
it's really hard to pick one of those.
God, dude, fucking Twitter's more enjoyable than this shit right now.
Well, my stream was somehow less jaded at the Overwatch one than he is now. That's
to play Reinhardt, who's pretty tragic at it. Being able to
wait, Ryan has 550 HP in this game mode.
Able to be a little bit more brawly and more offensive.
Are you, dude? Did they put that on the live to see if it was usable? And they're like, oh, that shit's powerful, dude. We should put that when it's solo tank. Give him 550 when he's alone, and he'll still work. And everyone's like, yeah. But take away it on the live server.
I can at least put it in my mind that
I was so upset that they nerfed Rein and Bab at the same time, because we had this hardcore Rein meta and it was actually so fun, but it was a little too much. And so this is before they listened to anybody, and they were like, we have to nerf Rein because, like, you know, he's doing too well. And it's like, yeah, just nerf Rein or Bab. Like, either one would work, but like, don't do both. And then they did both, and then like Rein completely died for like the rest of Overwatch at that point.
Could be a possibility. Yeah.
That's always the promise of Reinhardt in any version of Overwatch that you're playing, is that moment where you get to drop the shield and go in and just start laying waste to people. Feels
But you
so
don't
good.
play Reinhardt like that. Yes. Reinhardt is not the hero. You sit there and you shield, wait. Okay, then go. Like, that's not how it's all ever worked. High level Reinhardt is shield stop, swing, shield stop, swing, shield stop, fire strike, shield stop, corner, recharge, shield stop. Like, it's not.
Here's another one from Twitter.
Now go swing! Like, that's never how it's been played. The fact that I just heard those words come out of their mouth is disgusting.
Sorry, Aaron.
Like, completely separate.
Sorry.
Different environments. Like, but how do you guys?
It's literally my Silver Rein cosplay. I've talked about this for months.
We talked a lot about that earlier when we started developing.
Dude, I just want to throw my headset, dude. I want to throw it.
You know, look at a hero like Winston. Winston is.
But my headset didn't do anything wrong.
But a lot of his enjoyment comes from sort of how.
Oh Jesus Christ! They can't even kill the baby diva because of the pocket. What the?
Far ahead of your team or your healers, and you know, how you're committing and everything.
Nothing against these players, but just like this whole thing is just stupid. Okay, like I'm sorry, like it's just the truth. It's nothing against these guys, like. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to flame them on their skill. I'm flaming them on the game.
Okay, well, we really need to talk about if we're gonna keep these separate or not. But I did a prototype of like a PvP VE mode, I called it, which was like a hybrid mode. Because I think like.
Wait, they were talking about PvPVE game mode. That was like that. We ended up having some stuff like that, right? Like those like seasonal events. They were talking about them as far back as here. My old alert.
Kidio's move thanks to the huge 5 as well.
My old alert.
A hybrid mode. Because I think like I get the expectation that people will probably ask about that.
What's going on?
If we want to do that.
Kidio's move thanks to the
How's it going?
Well.
And it was a little.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
There wasn't a lot of balancing done. It was just like, let's throw all the crazy PvE stuff in there. And
do you guys know what's going on? Because I don't.
But, it was pretty interesting, and like there's maybe a version of that. Yeah, exactly. There's maybe a version that we could do that at some point in the future.
Chat, that alert had to go because, well, one, I got a whole new like stream package, but there was sometimes where like sub gift bombs were going crazy, and I'd be like mid game trying to play or do something, and you just hear for like straight up 5 minutes straight, and there was just nothing else, and it would drive me insane.
Don't have a chance when I'm trying to read Bunker's message.
We weren't really able to do it, but push kind of came out of that.
Oh, I know nobody knows. Trust me, Bunker. Like I can't say anything, but I know nobody had a clue.
Really,
I know nobody had a clue.
And hopefully it's something that we'll be able to talk to.
And it's sad, dude.
About later.
I love that. Winning games, or you can just keep losing games constantly and eventually get it.
Didn't you choose a sound?
Slower. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for everything today. Truly a blast. Thank you, Aaron, Jeff, and Dion. That'll be it from us.
I'm probably gonna watch like 2 or 3 more minutes of this. Apparently, the back half is just me talking to chat. So
Overwatch 2. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This is the biggest dog shit it could have been. Everything that I was feared of happening happened today. I had high hopes. I thought that they would know better, but for some reason they thought, oh, hey, let's let a bunch of silvers play the game and show it off to all the people that actually care about the game and pair with the league. They're supposed to be the best players in the world. But we showed it off with silvers. Now the question is, chat, why did they do that? Oh, I know why. Because if every single person in this lobby could aim, it would have turned into Widow v Widow, Hanzo v Hanzo, or Ash Mercy versus Widow Mercy. I mean, Ash Mercy versus Widow matchups the entire time. with Zen right clicks going across the map, and both tanks looking as useless as they looked in this game of silvers. That
damn,
I could not have been any more disappointed with. This is actually unironically the old Vine of my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Actually, to a literal T. There is nothing else to be said. I am genuinely disappointed. I hope to God that they are open to talking, and I hope that we can have a conversation about why this is not only a bad idea for the game, but you know, just
hey, we weren't on the talk yet, chat. Okay,
competitive, everything. Go ahead, have fun with your PvE. But the fact that you're destroying the PvP as well is just disgusting. The amount of Overwatch League players who just lost their job today is just insane.
That did happen.
20 of them just lost their jobs, 110%. Because you're not going to need that many tank players anymore.
I mean, now they all lost their jobs.
Someone who's a jack of all trades, someone that can play all the tanks, someone that can't just play main tank or off tank. And the best part that's
that literally happened.
You don't need that many tank players anymore because you're only going to need one, and you're going to need someone who's a jack of all trades, someone that can play all the tanks, someone that can't just play main tank or off tank. And the best part that's the most out of touch piece of shit bullshit is even for the highest level of a competitive level. Players that have been refining their skills for the last 4 or 5 years that are off tank or main tank players have a certain set of skills. Even the most best flex gods in the world, like Aimbot Calvin used to be as considered one of the best flex players on the entire ladder, could play anything, and there's tons of players in, you know, even now that play every role almost to the highest level. There are probably 5 people in the entire world that can play both main tank and off tank at the highest absolute 4.6 plus tier level, 4.7 level. And it's like Violet, Choi, and maybe like a couple, like there's 5 of them, maybe 5. Because the way you play off tank, the way you play main tank have been such different skill sets for all of these years. And in this game modes and with one tank, what's going to end up happening is as metas shift, you're either going to have only main tanks or only off tanks. You're going to be putting people into such disarray that games are going to be more imbalanced than they ever have been before. Because what you're going to do is you're going to have old players and new players that are trying to learn the game, and whether they need to learn Reinhardt, whether they need to play Zarya, whether they need to play Diva, whatever new tank it is, they're going to have to learn those heroes every single time from the ground up. And what you're going to have is you're going to have inflections of SR within somewhere of 800 to 1,000, where you're going to be 1 week you have some 4,500 Chad Winston player on your team, then it goes to a Roadhog meta and they can't aim on Hog, and all of a sudden they're a 3,500 caliber player and they have to go all the way down the ladder, and they're having that awful time losing game after game after game after game after game after game after game. Or they force their Winston and their team just flames the shit out of them, like, oh, you're forcing this dog shit hero, why are you doing that, you're ruining my games, etc., blah 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 blah. You are literally going to absolutely kill not only the tank player experience but those other players experience, because the way that the game has always run, as the reason there was 2 tanks, they have no idea what they're talking about. As they said earlier in the live stream, we can go back and find it. They said that double main tank is oppressive. There has been no double main tank other than that weird goats rush that they did in contenders 2 years ago, where you played Winston, Ryan, Goomba comp and you just full sent into their team. No professional and high level teams have ever really played double main tank, because double main tank has been garbage other than the very week or two, like Arissa Ryan was good or whatever the fuck that was going on. It has never been like that. It never has been like that. It never will be like that. The fact that they think that is actually how it works is scary, and that you're going to change the game on a level that is going to completely change Overwatch for what it is now. It will not resemble it at all when this happens, and you're either going to find a brand new player base, or and your old player base is going to be isolated away, or B, your current player base is going to somehow find a way to work with it, and the new player base and them are going to clash, because those new players are going to be trying to learn everything at once. Those old players are going to be very stuck in their old ways, because they're going to be very good at certain heroes and very not good at certain heroes, and it's going to create a power dynamic between players of both DPS support and tank, where it's going to not only increase toxicity, but it's going to increase or decrease your player experience based on what the meta is, to a level that is amplified 100 times worse than it is now. People hate when the meta gets stuck. They hate when it gets stuck because they don't like the heroes that are in it, whether it was double shield, whether they're not a fan of, if you're a Mercy player, you hate Rush. If you're a Lucio player, you hate Poke. Whatever it is, you're stuck in that meta even worse now, because if you don't play that one hero that you need, it is actually amplified 10 times more. Because before, you could kind of get away with it until you got really high up. You would still have some friction, you'd have some pushback, but at least people can be like, well, I want to play meta, but that guy's not playing it, so we just have to deal with it. Now you're putting it on one person. And if that one person doesn't do it, you're screwed. And even better yet, that one person is not going to be inclined to, because they will not be rewarded because of what I just witnessed. The tank players on both sides made no plays for 4 maps. One guy made a play on second point on second map on Hog. He got 3 hooks, and that was the biggest plays of any tank player through the 4 maps. So you're going to be forced as a tank player to play certain roles, to play the meta, and you're not going to be rewarded for it. You're just going to be picking the hero that you're going to have to pick to satisfy the rest of the group, the rest of the team, and make sure you don't get rolled. And then it's going to become a coin flip of who feeds first, who doesn't feed. The skill ceiling has to go through the roof at that point, but it's actually become so high that it's not going to be obtainable because of how many different heroes you're going to have to learn and how many different play styles you have to learn for each and every single one of them. You're going to make the player experience so dog shit. I didn't think it was possible to make it worse, but you found a way. I should say congrats. Koga, thanks for the
all right, so I think at this point on, I had one of my mods looked at this because I got sent this by like 10 different people, and I was like, is this worth watching? And they were like, yeah. But at the end, it's just like you talking to chat, and it's basically reiterating the same point. So I think right there is probably the end of like actual not repeating myself over and over. I have one thing to say, and one thing only. That's it. That's all I got to say. That's all. That's it. That is terrifying. I can't believe that. That's it. That's all I got.